Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyanangana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militandena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadasi Swavarandhikam Aradhanastranandan Daividam Yakshay Punrapuna Srima Rupa Padam Bhujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. So how many people have never been to Vrindavan? Everybody's been to Vrindavan. Is that you don't understand English? Have you never been? Jnani Silan, huh? Jnana Silan. Never been to Vrindavan. Everybody else has been. Yeah, we know Gopal, we just met him there. So, anyway, as we mentioned this morning, that road that we arrive in Vrindavan is called Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg. And actually the first temple you see as you enter the town of Vrindavan is Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi Mandir. Because it's only by mercy of Srila Prabhupada that we're able to go to Vrindavan. There's no one, without the mercy of the pure devotees, no one can really reach Vrindavan. So we come by the Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg. So first we'll sing a very beautiful prayer glorifying the Vaishnava, because it's only by Vaishnava's mercy that we're able to enter into the path of bhakti. Just like in Vrindavan, or actually just like there's one book that I translated, unfortunately we sold out before we got here, was Madhurya Kadambini. And there Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that bhakti is only available from the bhakt. Bhaktya sanjataya bhakti. Bhakti is available from the bhakt. Because bhakti lives in the heart of the devotee. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that even Krishna himself doesn't give bhakti. Because if Krishna gave bhakti, then we'll have to criticize him. That why he's giving to some and he's not giving to others. Because we see that few million people are there in Switzerland, only a few handfuls have come here to hear relish some Harikatha. So you all have bhakti. And we were just in England where there's one fellow called Richard Dawkins, and he makes so much propaganda, there is no God. He has no bhakti. He writes books and makes so much propaganda. So then we'll have to say that Krishna is partial. He's giving to some, not giving to other. But we know from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu, I'm equal to everyone. But same complaint we can't make against a devotee because Srimad Bhagavatam describes the devotee as being partial. His natural condition is described in Bhagavatam as being partial. He worships the Lord, he makes friends with the devotees, he helps the innocent, and he avoids Richard Dawkins and all the atheists. So his natural condition is partial, so we cannot criticize him. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur uses a very beautiful word. He says, Svabhakta Vashyata. Krishna is under the control of his devotee. whoever the devotee will give mercy upon, then Krishna automatically will give mercy to that person. So we want to get mercy from the Vaishnavas. Just like we have our little project in Nandagam called Vrindakund. And there we don't have running water, electricity, and all these so-called conveniences. So we don't have running water, what do we have? We have hand pump. Now, sometimes we are pumping that hand pump, ka-ching, 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 and no water's coming. Maybe the older persons from Sri Lanka or India, they know this. Does it mean now no more water left in the earth? So much water is there that somehow he's not coming up. So now we'll teach you village technology. Because you know this iPod, iPad, iPhone, all this technology. But you don't know the village technology, which you better know. And now this whole civilization is shaking, it may crash, then you'll have to know village technology. So what we do, we always keep one bucket with some water nearby. So water is down, but from upside we pour some water inside the pump. Then ka-choon, 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 automatically water is coming. The same way, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, Saja Kabunai. Shravanade Sudachite, Hui Beudai. The Krishna Prem, the Nitya Siddha, it's within all our hearts. But Saja Kabunai, by our own efforts, ka-ching, 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 it's not happening. But Shravanadi Sudachite, Hui Beudai, if some Vaishnava comes, he pours a little Krishna Katamrit in this little hole here. It goes down to the heart, then ka-choon, 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 Krishna Bhakti automatically flowing in the heart. So first we want to get mercy of Vaishnava. And Vaishnava is so powerful. One time, there's one nice devotee, we'll see him in a few days, Vishal. Vishal means big, and he's also a very big devotee. Where's our Keshavacharya? Is not here. He knows he's going to Miami, so he may know him. Anyway, so Prabhupada was entering the temple, and Vishal was going, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai. And Prabhupada stopped and put his cane like this. He said, so you like this place? He said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, it's wonderful. And with the flick of his wrist, Prabhupada said, then take it, it's yours. With the flick of his wrist. This is the power of the pure devotee of the Lord. Just by a flick of the wrist, he can give you Vrindavan. So, we're going to go to Vrindavan, so first we need mercy of Vaishnava. So this is a very beautiful song. Did Prabhuji bring those printouts? I printed at least, we didn't have much time, we printed like 2 or 3 copies. And it's also probably in this little Vaishnava songbook here. Devara Karuna Karo, somebody wants a copy. I have my Hindi songbook here. This is Bengali songs and Hindi letters in my song. But most people know this song. Vaishnava Thakur ki jai. So ebara karuna koro Vaishnava Gosai. So actually the real word is Goswami, but this is Bengali nickname. We say Gosai. Oh Vaishnava Goswami, ebara, one time. Karuna, karuna means compassion. Do we have anybody whose name contains Karuna? Karuna Mai or anyone? Huh? Your name?
I don't know my name.
Oh, you don't have any?
His mother, Karuna.
Huh?
Gopal Kripa mother, Karuna.
Karuna Mai. So Karuna means compassion. So Ebara Karuna Koro Vaishnava. One time, O Vaishnava Gosai, Goswami, please be compassionate upon me just one time. Patita Pavana Toma Bina Kehola. Like we were discussing this morning, Patit means ourselves. Patit means fallen. Patit. And Pavana means to purify. And he gives example of the purifying power of the Vaishnava. He says, what is that? Gangara parasha hoile paschate pavan. Parasha, this is very simple Bengali, because Narottam Das Thakur, these bhajans were very favorite of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said it's very simple Bengali. Even today, if you go in Bangladesh and Bengal village, you will find them singing these songs of Narottam just like we sing folk songs. But although it is very simple Bengali language, all the deep truths of Vedic philosophy is there. All the deep truths of our Gaudiya philosophy are there. Prabhupada said Narottam songs are just as good as Vedas. So this simple Bengali says parasha. Actually, word is sparsha. We heard this word before in Bhagavad Gita. What is that verse? We heard this word sparsha before?
Matta sparsha.
Matta sparshas tu kunte. You know this verse, huh? So sparsha means to contact or to touch. So Gangara Parasha, this is poetic language. Touching Ganga means taking bath in Ganga. Gangara Parasha hoile paschate pava. Paschat means after some time. Just like now in beginning of 2013, there's Kumbh Mela in Prayag. So people will do Kalpavas, 1 month. They will take, Magh means that's the coldest month of the year. And in the cold month of Magh, they will take cold bath in the Ganga every day for 1 month. So slowly, Paschati, after some time, Pavan, they become purified. But what does he say about Vaishnava? Darshani pavitra koro eto aragun. Darshan matra se apavitra. Just by seeing a Vaishnava, we become pavitra, purified. Just by seeing Vaishnava. Just like we have the practical experience also. Because you may be surprised to know, but in old days, or maybe you've seen some videos, when Prabhupada came in the airport, we used to go with 200, 300, 400 devotees, 20 kartals, 5 mridangas, and go right inside the airport. Now we can't even imagine such a thing. What to speak of go with kirtan, we probably couldn't even carry the kartal inside. They say, what is this, some weapon? But those days, we used to go right inside the airport. So Prabhupada came to LA one time, so everybody from Laguna Beach, from San Francisco, Berkeley, all West Coast, we all came to greet Prabhupada at the airport. So right inside, 350 devotees, 20 kartals, 4 mridangas, we're having a big band, Hare Krishna, Hare, big kirtan. Right inside the airport, everyone came running to see what's going on. So everybody was looking, but nobody could see anything. So all devotees were jumping and dancing. So one other person also came. Nowadays, to make them feel good, we call them sanitation engineer. Means the floor mopper. So to be floor mopper, you don't have to have so much education. So he was a simple guy. And he was so black, he made the nighttime look like daytime. He was leaning on his mop, but he couldn't see anything. Then Prabhupada came out, all the devotees, they hit the floor. And this fellow, he looked. Now, I guess people from Germany have a different accent and people from Switzerland have different accents. So there's different accents also in English. You probably won't even understand what I'm going to say next. He took one look, he said, "Look that man, he's shining, he's shining, look that man, he's shining, look that man, he's shining, he's shining, look that man, he's shining." Anybody have any idea what I just said?
Look that man, he's shining.
Some of you could understand.
Look that man, he's shining.
Look at that man, he's shining, he's shining, look at that man, he's shining. Look at that man, he's shining, he's shining, look at that man, he's shining. So just simple little guy, but as soon as he saw Prabhupada, a pure devotee, he became so purified, he saw that Prabhupada is shining. So this is the wonderful qualities of the Vaishnava that Narottam Das describes. So sometimes people ask me what was the first time that I met Prabhupada. Because actually I joined, just like you were in the mountains, I joined we have our own Alps in California called the Rocky, well actually it's not in Rocky, it's not in California, it's in the western side of the United States, the Rocky Mountains, you may have heard. And just at the foot of those Rocky Mountains, there's one city called Boulder. Even today is a very special spiritual place. Everybody's got ashram there. All spiritual movements have ashram there. So that year all the young people went to Boulder. But anyway, from Boulder they sent me to LA to become trained up. And that time Prabhupada was not there. But later they sent me back to get initiated in January of 1970. And that time the temple was not on Watseka Boulevard where it is now, it was on La Cienega Avenue. No, La Cienega Boulevard, not on Watseka Avenue, it was La Cienega Boulevard. And it was a small temple, so there was no place for Prabhupada to stay. So they rented some flat nearby. Prabhupada stayed in some flat. He would come in the morning and take darshan of the deities and then give Bhagavatam class and go back to his flat. So when we came, it was already afternoon, so we weren't going to see Prabhupada till the next morning. But anyway, in LA, especially on Friday, Saturday nights, we would go down to Hollywood Boulevard. Now you all heard of Hollywood, unfortunately. And we would chant on Hollywood Boulevard. Specifically, most of the time we spent in front of one restaurant called Diamond Jim's. Because there the sidewalk was a little wide. Because in America there's freedom of religion. If your religion is a chant on the street, then the police can't stop you. But if you block traffic, then they'll get you on that one. So their sidewalk was a little wide, so we could push people back into the gap and the sidewalk would be free. People could pass, we could chant, the police were happy, we were happy, only Diamond Jim's was unhappy. And we were led by one very wonderful devotee named Vishnujan. Now you can read, I just saw Basago showed me a copy of part 2, Radha Damodar Vilas. If you haven't seen part 1, now part 2 has come. All about Vishnujan and Jayananda and Tamal. It's such a book that neither you continue reading, neither you can put it down. Because you know if I keep reading, then it will end. But at the same time, it is so electric you can't put it down. You're afraid to keep reading because if I finish, I will finish, then it will be end. If I keep reading, I'll come to the end. So neither you can read it, neither you can put it down. So anyway, Vishnujan, he used to chant all day long. All we did in those days was Harinam. We go in the morning and do Harinam, and at the evening time we did Harinam, the night time. And Vishnujan not only had tape around his fingers, he had pieces of tile underneath the tape, because he was just playing all afternoon. He would all noontime to the afternoon he would play, and then all night long he was playing Mridanga and chanting. Prabhupada said he would chant his way back to Goloka. So we would stand with our backs to the street, and Vishnujan would arrange us in a half moon. He said, just like the eye of Krishna. So we would be dancing like this in a half moon. And Vishnujan would stand here. He was looking down. He could see the sidewalk. He can see the street both. And he would be chanting. And very fast. He said, we don't want to leave any gaps for Maya to come. So he would chant very fast. And even we had Hollywood melody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This was our Hollywood melody. So we were chanting and Vishnujan, suddenly his eyes became just as big as saucers. And he went, Prabhupada. And he hit the street. Now, we figured that he must be seeing something behind us because we don't see anything in front of us. So we all turned around. And just that night, Prabhupada decided he wanted to see how the devotees were spreading Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan mission in this horrible place called Hollywood Boulevard. So he came there. It was a small little midi-sized car. Not nowadays, they make all the cars about that size, but those days everybody had great big car. This is a little bit like a Ford Pinto, if anybody remembers those. Now you know how old I am. But anyway, so Prabhupada was there in the car. He had his hand in his bead bag, and he was making pranams to us. When we turned around, the pure devotee of the Lord was so grateful that we're pushing out Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement in this horrible place. He was making pranams like this. We just wanted to peel up the sidewalk and crawl underneath, How can a pure devotee make pranams to us? This is, it's impossible. So we all just hit the street, but we were looking for some crack we can just crawl in and see. Prabhupada was there making pranams to us. So that is the humility and gratefulness of the pure devotee. So that is my first memory of Srila Prabhupada. He turned around and he was there making pranams to us. And a few days later we got initiated. That was one of the last initiations where Prabhupada did everything. He sat down and he put all the colored dyes and he did the fire yajna himself. He chanted. Well, those days he would chant on the beads right in front of you. You handed your beads and Prabhupada would chant on them and then hand them back. The next one, maybe there was two more times, but I think this was the last time. After that, then Prabhupada would chant on the beads in his room, and then when Jagya time came, they'd just hang them on into the microphone and he would just hand them out and give the names. But he would chant there. So Prabhupada, then my turn came, I had in my beads. And those days, it wasn't that we had nice Loy Bazaar Tulsi beads. We used to go to one company called Tandy Leather Company. Leather company because people used to take little wooden beads and string them on leather string, but anyway. But they made also the wooden beads also. So we used to go to Tandy Leather Company, buy these wooden beads, and then we buy some nylon string, and we tie it on the end of the doorknob, and string that string to the other side of the room. You will be surprised. When you tie 108 knots, that string disappears. And we'd sit there, we'd pull one bead all the way down, and tie the knot and chant one Hare Krishna mantra, then put another bead and tie a knot, and the string would just keep like this. And then we had these very light-colored, very light-colored candy leather company beads, and Prabhupada had them in his hand. He was holding like this in his hand. It looked just like pearl necklace in Prabhupada's hand, and he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Ram. So he used to go like this. He'd go Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Ram. He just roll like that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Then he'd go Hare Ram, Ram. So Prabhupada was just holding them like this and chanting. And then Prabhupada took the beads, something like this. And then he handed it to me, and he said, and your name is Deena Bandhu. He said, Deena Bandhu means friend of the humble. Well, first he asked the 4 rules and regulations. He said, how many rounds? I said 16. He said, what are the 4 rules and regulations? No illicit sex life, no intoxication, no illicit sex life, no meat eating. Anyway, I couldn't, all of a sudden my mind went blank. And Prabhupada was sitting there, and I was just frozen. And I just froze. And some brahmachari behind me said, no drugs, no drugs. And I said, no intoxication. And Prabhupada said, yes, no LSD. Prabhupada used to laugh that he made a joke that everybody appreciated, so Prabhupada would laugh also at his own joke, in his sweet way. He would laugh, no LSD, and then he would laugh. So then he said, your name is Deena Bandhu, means friend of the humble. And I guess I was too shocked. I took my beads back and he said, it is all right? I said, oh yes, Prabhupada. So then, because when I became a devotee, the person who made me devotee was Bhavananda, who was also from Hollywood. So when he bought, because we also didn't have nice, Loy Bazaar dhotis with nice stripe on them and everything. We just went to, there's a chain of department stores called J.C. Penney's. We went to J.C. Penney's, we got the peach-colored 35% dacron, 65% nylon piece of cloth, and that was dhoti. So, but since Bhavananda was from Hollywood, he got this super shiny, silky looking peach-colored cloth for me. And so after Prabhupada did the whole thing, he chanted in everybody, there's about 10 of us, took a long time. He chanted in everybody's beads, he did the fire yajna, then he gave lecture. Then after lecture he had kirtan, and I was right in the front, and I was just jumping and jumping, and then that nice silky, from that jumping, that nice silky soft satin cloth just began to slip. So I just, grabbed like this and But I remember one time we used to go for a morning walk in Vrindavan when there was Mayapur Vrindavan festival. Because Prabhupada wanted all the devotees as much as possible to come to Mayapur and Vrindavan. And sometimes the GBC, they objected. They said, oh, but Prabhupada, it costs so much money. He said, you eat? Every day you eat, is it? I said, yes, Prabhupada. So you can save a lot of money if you stop eating. So Prabhupada put coming to Mayapur and Vrindavan on the same level as importance as eating. We must go sometimes and visit there, get our batteries recharged. That is Mayapur, Vrindavan, these are the recharging stations. It's like now you go in the airport, they have the place, to recharge your laptop and mobiles. So this is a recharge station, Mayapur, Vrindavan, in this material world. So I remember when Prabhupada installed the Krishna Balaram deities in Vrindavan. First, because that's a big long story, but anyway, somehow it ended up being on Ram Navami. So from Gaur Purnima to Ram Navami, there's a big gap. So we went to Puri, we did some Pandal program in Puri, then we went to Hyderabad. And one famous politician who also owned a sweet shop called G. Reddy, he had just donated some land in the heart of the city for making the temple. So Prabhupada wanted to do big publicity there, so we all came to Hyderabad. And we did big Pandal program. And every night we would have big kirtan and Prabhupada would give lecture, and then he would ask for questions. And he was speaking very powerful. Just surrender to Krishna, that's all. Nothing else, just surrender to Krishna. So, in the beginning he used to let the people come up and ask their questions in the microphone. But one thing about Indian people, they love to listen to themselves speak. So they would come up to the microphone and, "Respected Swamiji, we have one question for you, and it is a very important question, so we want to put this question to your holiness, because we know you can give the proper answer to this question, because this question is very important for all humanity. So we want to get your learned answer on this question, so we're presenting this question before you." They would go on and on like this, Pastor. The Vraja, "What is your question?" "Well, Prabhupada," he said, "in Swamiji in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says you have to do the duty." And Prabhupada stopped him and said, "That is monkey's duty. Krishna says, Sarvadharmam Parityajya mamekam sada." You just give up everything and surrender to me. That's all. He said, monkey's also doing his duty, but nobody's satisfied by his duty. Just Sarvadharmam Parityajya, you surrender to Krishna, that's all. Then somebody asked him, "Well, Swamiji, what about this Mahesh Yogi?" He said, "I do not know who is Mahesh Yogi. Only I know Krishna says, Sarvadharmam Parityajya, you just surrender to Krishna, that's all." After the first night, then he told the Chutananda, he said, "Tell him to write down the question." So we had a wonderful Pandal program there. And I remember Jeepal already had us all come to his house and gave big feast. And so many devotees there, he ran out of sweets, so he ran to the sweet shop and he brought back a big bucket of rasgullas. So he was coming down the line putting rasgulla in every plate, and I was at the end of the line. And I guess he saw my face, because I was getting worried. So he just came to me, he just looked at me, he picked out one rasgulla and he just pushed it right into my mouth. He said, "Haribol!" So then, that was our first experience on the train. We went from Calcutta to Puri on train, and then a big long one from Puri to Hyderabad is a long train ride. And this is 1975. There wasn't even cushions. You were sitting on a wooden, just like when you go to church. That's what we were sitting on, like a wooden pew. No cushion, no nothing, and sleeping on that also. So, and it was quite an experience. Riding an Indian train, especially in those days, even now, but especially in those days, is quite an experience. We'll tell something more about that some other time, but anyway. So then I decided I don't want to take a train all the way from Hyderabad to Delhi. So I went to the airport and I bought a ticket for myself and my wife. Now the ticket came out to about $125 or something. And somehow all I had brought with me was $100 traveler's checks. So when I handed them $200 traveler's checks already signed, then they got flustered because now they have to give change in rupees for all this money, and they all just were. Then they called everyone consulted together. Then they said, "How old are you?" And I said, "Such and such." "How old is your wife?" I said, "First of all, are you married?" "Yes, we're married." "How old are you?" Then they somewhere they found some. If you're under a certain age and you're married, and this somehow they found some rule. So it only had to, it was under $100, so they didn't have to give us $75 worth of change. They gave me back already signed, because you're supposed to sign it in front of someone. They gave me back the check at the top. I can't take this back, it's already signed. No. So anyway, so it turned out we were on the same flight as Prabhupada. And they had Prabhupada sitting in the very first seat, when you walked into the plane, and Prabhupada and his servant were sitting there. So then all of a sudden we walked in, and Prabhupada's eyes became very big when he saw us walk into the plane. We just made our pranam like that, and we went and took our place. And this was the safest flight I ever flew. We were sitting with Prabhupada on the plane. So then we went to Vrindavan. First, I think there was Pandal program in Delhi. And then there was Pandal program in a place called Modi Nagar. Then there was Pandal program in... Sometimes you see that picture of that, looks like a silver Vyasasan. Prabhupada giving lecture, you may have seen that silver Vyasasan. But actually, I had gone, one of the devotees from Delhi temple, he said, come with me, we have to go check out the arrangements for Prabhupada. So I went there, and we saw everything, and I saw that up close. If you look very closely, it's not actually Vyasasan, it was something else, but they just threw it all together to make it look like a Vyasasan. It's all broken up into pieces, but they just threw it all together and made it look like a Vyasasan. But anyway, we went to Mr. Modi's house, and it was very interesting, just in the entrance hallway, big, high ceiling, and they had these paintings, but there was one painting on the wall. There was a young girl in a sari walking on the sand, and she's very young and beautiful, and there's this skull sitting on the sand. It's like a special message there, And then they had this big, long dining, because they brought us home for lunch, and we went to this big, long dining room. Then I got the first experience, because we just used to make the chapatis, and we come home for lunch prasadam from Sankirtan, and the chapatis been sitting for 2 hours, and they passed them out, old cold chapatis. This little servant was running in every 2 minutes, with hot, still puffed up chapati and putting on the plate. We get that first experience like that. So anyway, Prabhupada came there, he did program, and they had a big Lakshmi Narayan temple, and Prabhupada gave program there. Then we went to Aligarh, and that time they had this maroon-colored Mercedes, and Prabhupada was driving it. And there was like 4 buses, and we were all going from Aligarh to Vrindavan. And suddenly Prabhupada's car stopped, so all the buses stopped, and then whoever it was Prabhupada's servant, he came back through all the cars asking if somebody had water. So finally they found some water, and then we watched Prabhupada got out of the Mercedes, and he's walking to the side of the road, and we were all just staring like this, and suddenly it dawned on us what was going on, So then, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Because in India, every place is a toilet, and everybody is a doctor. So, anyway, then we came to Vrindavan, and then they had very elaborate, they had this big yagashala, and they had all these water pots with strings wrapped all around them. We'd never seen all this stuff, all kinds of strings and sitting in piles of grains, and big thatched roof. It was right in the opposite corner from where the Tamal tree was. In that corner they had this big yagashala and everything. And they had all these big fat Brahmins from Vrindavan there, with big, bigger sikas than this. They were all there doing all the yagas and everything. Sometimes they would have Prabhupada. I remember one time they were doing all these special mantras. So they had Prabhupada come, and Prabhupada was sitting in the yagashala. And that day, the whole time, that time of year, you never even see a cloud. The sky is clear blue, and it's very hot. But somehow that day there was all these very low clouds, and they were just swirling around, and it seemed like Krishna Balaram courtyard was where the center of that swirl of those clouds were just swirling around. They're very low clouds and just swirling around and swirling around. So after a while I got the idea that all the demigods came to see Prabhupada open up Krishna Balaram temple, so they made all these clouds so they could watch all this part of the ceremony. And then Prabhupada instructed us, he said, we're having all these Brahmins do this because otherwise this is a very conservative place. If we do the installation, they will say that there's not bona fide, they won't take our prasadam and all this type of thing. So Prabhupada invited these Vrindavan Brahmins to do everything for us so that we would be accepted by local people. But he said, real installation is your Harinam Sankirtan. And then we made, a whole schedule. We divided it up according to countries. The Swiss Yatra had their turn, the American Yatra had their turn, the Italy Yatra had their turn, the English Yatra had their turn, the Australian Yatra had their turn. And Prabhupada said, this is 24-hour kirtan, this is the real installation. And actually it's a fact. We cannot do these yagas properly or anything. The real thing is just chanting the holy names. All this yaga thing is just a big show. It's nice, it's wonderful, it's bona fide, but it's really a big show. The real thing is chanting the holy names. So, then the day before the installation we had procession through the streets of Vrindavan with the Utsav deities. So we started from Krishna Balaram, we had these, we thought it was really fancy umbrellas, a big red umbrella with all this jari and little silver and gold tassels hanging down and beautiful designs and things like that. I said, wow, this is really far up. But you go to India and even better, you can see the same thing. So it's just, for Indians, it's just ordinary thing, but wow, it's very fancy velvet with gold and silver jari, beautiful peacocks and all kinds of designs all over, little tassels hanging. They're very nice. And there was like this big bamboo curtain, like this. All the sannyasis were there. Prabhupada was here walking and all the sannyasis were there with their dandas like this. So both sides was these big bamboo curtains, saffron curtain there, And they had all the deities on maybe a bullock cart or something. So we went through the whole town of Vrindavan with Harinam and came back. And the next day they had all the deities lined up there on the darshan mandap. And we had so many things we were seeing. They had wax on the deities. We'd never seen all these things, Then one day they pulled up all the wax and this stick, and they had pots and pots everywhere. And they were having a good time, For us, it was a big, serious yajna, All the Brahmins, they were just laughing, and they would take the clay pots and just throw the different liquids, like they're just throwing like this over all the deities. And they're having a grand old time. It was big fun. The Vishvasis, it was just a big fun time installing Krishna and Radharani and Gauri. They'd take all these pots and just throw everything all over the deities, and they had a wonderful time. And then, while they were getting the deities cleaned up and dressed and bhog offerings, and there was some speeches and things. And then came the artik. And everyone just pushed forward. And finally the conch blew, the curtain opened, and there was Prabhupada in this beautiful silk saffron lungi and kurta. You've probably seen the picture. And Prabhupada was doing the first artik for Krishna and Balaram. And all the crowd just went like this. Now this was only the second time in my life I'd ever been to India. And I was just getting crushed. And my feet, I was going over this way and I was going over that way. But I didn't even have my feet on the ground. The crowd was taking this way. And I remember sometime you read in the newspaper that there's stampede and people got crushed to death and stomped, trampled, and so on. I just started freaking out. So somehow in those frightening times you get some special strength. So like a football player, American football players, broke through the crowd down to the courtyard. I was frightened to death. And I got there to the courtyard and turned around just in time. Prabhupada was turning around with the incense to offer to the Vaishnavas. And he had such a sweet smile on his, sometimes you hear on the tape Prabhupada say, full satisfaction. And then, he offered the ghee lamp and then he turned around and that full satisfaction became even fuller. By the time that famous picture, Prabhupada with the peacock fan, he was fully satisfied. And so incredible smile. It was just like every time Prabhupada turned, that smile it was like, first it was like 10 suns, then it was like 20 suns, then it was like 50 suns, then it was like 80 suns, and finally when he got the peacock fan, it was like 100 suns rising into the sky at once, And we only had that picture because Visakha was there. She's trying to get this picture, but some sannyasi, whose name we won't mention, he was planted right smack in the middle. And then Visakha finally said to him, said, look, you're getting nice darshan, but if I can get this picture, then millions of people in the future will get darshan of this moment. And it made so much sense to him, he immediately moved over, and Visakha got there with her camera, and click, she got that picture with Prabhupada with the peacock fan, you know, with full satisfaction on his face. Yeah. And then next morning we went for a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada down the Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg, because the city officially named that road from the Delhi highway into Vrindavan. That is officially, nobody calls it that, but it's officially the Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg. Everyone calls it Chatikara Road, but it's officially Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg. Marg means road. So Prabhupada used to walk up the Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg. So he was very happy. And he was walking and suddenly he stopped, he dug his cane in the street, planted his cane, and he looked, he said, now everything is all right. Balaram is here. He said, now you can go to Balaram and you can tell him, my dear sir, this is my problem, you please help me. And Balaram will solve all your problems. Now everything is all right, Balaram is here. So this way, Prabhupada built this Krishna Balaram Mandir and international guest house just for us. He wanted all of us, he knew that Westerners would not be able to tolerate the austerity of Vrindavan. I can remember in 1974, the first time we came. We were all staying in Fogalashram. Now Fogalashram is 100 times improved. But those days, we had these dinky little rooms. We were just sleeping in this mat on the floor. And there may have, because I had never been there, I didn't know, there may have been real bathrooms somewhere, but for us there was just this, there was these 3 or 4 rooms that had sand on them. And you sort of tiptoed through and tried to find an empty spot where you could squat down. It was horrible. Especially coming from the West, that was a horrifying experience. Especially since we were so sick and everything was just coming out pure liquid. So but Prabhupada knew we wouldn't be able to tolerate those things, so he made this beautiful temple and beautiful guest house for us to come, because he wanted people to come and understand Vrindavan. This was Prabhupada's great. He put Vrindavan on the map. Because that time when we went to Vrindavan, we saw all the temples. The deity room was filled with cobwebs, everything was dirty. The cloth of the deities looked like if you just went, it would just disintegrate, you know. And, you know, in some places we saw in the corner of the altar room, the TV was there and the pujari sitting there giving out charnamrit to everybody and collecting your donations, of course, and watching the TV, you know. And it was in very poor conditions. And nobody was thinking of investing money in Vrindavan. Everybody was trying to squeeze out whatever they could get from Vrindavan. Just like you go to some temples and you see 3 or 4 deities on one altar. Now you think, oh, this is so wonderful, look for it, just like here. My God. It looks like some temples in Vrindavan. But of course, this is out of love. All of you you've taken all your lords from your homes and brought them here. But why there's so many deities on one altar in Vrindavan? Because they sold the deity's property, so they just took him out of his own temple and stuck him in another temple, and sold another temple and stuck him there like that. Everybody was just trying whatever money they could get out of Vrindavan, they were trying to squeeze it out. But Prabhupada came, and that time when he built Krishna Balaram Mandir, he was investing, that was a lot of money. Everybody else was squeezing money out, whatever they can get, anyway, anyhow. You know, if you wanted to, some temples, if you wanted to get darshan, you know, they closed the curtains, say, you give money, we'll open, you know. But Prabhupada came and he invested big money in Vrindavan. Now we see, now Vrindavan unfortunately is out of control. Everybody's just investing money in anything. Temples are building, but also big high rises and all this, you know. Unfortunately, there's no zoning laws and things like that. Even if there were zoning laws, there's nobody to enforce them. But anyway, Prabhupada started it all. Now there's so many temples coming up. Now we see the deity worship in every temple, with beautiful clothes, and everything is clean and everything's done nicely. Prabhupada put Vrindavan on the map and he changed the whole Vrindavan. Otherwise, everything was very dirty and low class. Now you see the temples, everything is very nice, and you put marble in the deity room, make nice arrangements, and nice cloth, and nice, mukuts, and nice jewelry, everything. But before Prabhupada came, we were disappointed. Maybe 1 or 2 temples were nice, but everything else wasn't so nice. But Prabhupada, he changed the whole of Vrindavan. And now we see, when they told Prabhupada that, well, why did you build your temple way out there? Who will go there? This what happened in 1972 in November. Prabhupada did a Pandal program in Delhi. After that, there was some gap before the next program, so he told all the devotees, let's go to Vrindavan. So he brought all the devotees to Vrindavan. And he personally took all the devotees on Prikrama. And so then there was a big program at the municipality to felicitate Srila Prabhupada and honor him. So there was big kirtan. So there was one, what is his name, Sharaf. Govinda Sharan Sharaf. After the program, he came up to Prabhupada. He was just completely astonished by that kirtan. He told Prabhupada that I have some land on the Chatikara road. I've been saving to give to someone to build ashram there. So I want to give that land to you. Actually, the land was in his wife's name, Gita Devi. So you see the big sign in the temple there that this land was donated by Gita Devi Saraf. She's still alive. He's gone. Gita Devi's still there. So then he donated this land. Then people said, oh, why did you build your temple so far out there? No, who will go there? And now when you come, you see that even if you stand in the courtyard for the 7 o'clock arti, still you're getting bumped left and right. It's so crowded. And even though it's a big hassle, you can't sit peacefully. Somebody bumping you. Somehow in India they don't have this feeling like in other countries that bumping is nobody even, if they bump you, they don't even, it's like here, if you actually bump somebody, excuse me sir, all right. They just bump, especially these big Punjabi ladies, they just come through, bam, bam, bam. Nobody says excuse me, nobody cares. But anyway, even though it's a big hassle, there's a big botheration, I just stand there and I just feel that Prabhupada is up there in Golok looking down. There's so many thousands of people coming to his Krishna Balaram temple, and they all told me, who will go there? And now it's so crowded you can't even stand peacefully in the courtyard at the arti. So I just feel Prabhupada is so happy if they're in the Golok scene down in the Krishna Balaram Mandir. So that time, since we already mentioned how Prabhupada took the devotees on Prikrama, one day, we'll tell that story. One day, they rented a bus and they were going to Gokul. And as they were going down the road, they saw this young, obviously foreigner, but he looked like a sadhu, standing on the side of the road. And everyone recognized that this was the same person. Prabhupada had just done a big Pandal program in Bombay, and he told Guru Das, 30,000 people were sitting there. And Prabhupada pointed, he told Guru Das, bring this person on the stage. So that same person was standing there on the side of the road. And so immediately they stopped the bus, they said, Prabhupada's here, we're going on Prikrama, hop in. That was Radhanath Swami. I forget what his name was before, it's in his book, but anyway, they stopped the bus and he jumped on. So he told me this story. They went to Gokul. And then they went to Brahmandagat. Now you may have seen one picture in your Ever Well-Wisher film, one part of the movie, where Prabhupada's sitting on the steps, and then suddenly he just pulls off his sweater, and he's into his gamsha, and he goes in the water, and in true Indian style, holding his nose like this, he goes boom, boom, boom 3 times. You remember that from the Everwisher video? Da? 9. You see that film again, you'll remember, you'll see it. You can't miss Prabhupada, he just 3 times he holds his nose like this, bing, 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 then like this. And all the devotees were bathing with Prabhupada. So anyway, what happened, Radha Swami told me, is he came there, this is November, it's cold. So Prabhupada touched the water of Jamuna. He said, it is too cold for old man like me, but you all go in. So all the devotees went in the water, and they were having so much time splashing and having so much fun in Jamuna. Then Prabhupada said, why not? You see Prabhupada move his head like this, and he just pulls off his... Radha Swami said, it was like one motion. He pulled off his cloth and into his gamsha like that, and it was like one smooth motion. He just did it with... So next time you go to Brahmandagat, there's a big wall there, and the steps are going down, you'll recognize, if you ever see that video, then you'll recognize the place. When you come to Brahmandagat. There's Brahmand. Anybody knows the meaning of Brahmand? Universe. All right. So Brahmandagat, as you may well imagine, is the place where Krishna showed the universe to Mother Yasoda within his mouth. Because remember that one time Mother Yasoda came with Balaram in her hand, and she said, Lala, all your friends are complaining that you're eating clay. And Krishna said, I didn't eat in any clay. He said it in a very clever way. He said, Meni miti nakayo. Now, in Hindi, when we want, I is me. But when we speak in past tense, then we say mene. I did this or I did that, mene. So, Krishna said, mene hi mitikayo. He means definitely. I definitely ate clay. Or we also know in Hindi to say no, then we say nahi. So Krishna, you can also take it that mene hi mitika. I didn't eat in any clay. He said it in a very clever way. You can take it mene hi mitikayo or mene hi mitikayo. So, anyway, then why all your friends are complaining? Baldao is complaining, all your friends? He said, that's because we were playing and Baldao's, we divided in groups, so we had competition, and Baldao's side lost. So they're making all these accusations to get me in trouble. They're telling lies to get me in trouble. Acha? Well, if you didn't eat in any clay, then you open your mouth and show me. So then Krishna opened his mouth, and Mother Yasoda, she looked inside the mouth of Krishna. Inside the mouth of Krishna, she saw the moon, the sun, the stars, the earth, Venus, Mars, Saturn, all the senses, the controller of the senses, the objects of the senses, earth, air, fire, water, ether, mind, intelligence. They said she saw everything within Krishna's mouth, entire universe. She even saw, she's outside, but looking inside, she saw herself inside Krishna's mouth, taking Krishna on her lap. She's looking into Krishna's mouth, but inside she's seeing herself, and she's taking Krishna on her lap and feeding Krishna milk from her breast. And she's seeing all this inside Krishna's, this little boy's mouth. The whole universe was inside, Brahman, the whole Brahman. Then she became very bewildered. But Krishna, he doesn't like the residents of Braj to think of him as God. The residents of Braj, they never think of Krishna as God. So then he expanded his Yogamaya potency. Mother Yasoda began to talk in a big philosophical way. Then Krishna expanded his Yogamaya potency, and Mother Yasoda forgot all these things. Because there's 2 types of Maya. One is Mahamaya. We know Mahamaya very well. We're there most of the time. Mahamaya is what keeps us away from Krishna. And she does a very good job. And some people, just like we're talking, this Richard Dawkins, he's telling there's no such thing as Krishna, this useless thing. So this is Mahamaya, to take us to cover Krishna and take us far from Krishna. Then there's Yogmaya. We know Yog means to link. So Yogmaya means to bring us to Krishna, to bring us close to Krishna. Because this idea of thinking of Krishna as the Almighty God who's sitting on a big throne with a thunderbolt and you go to hell, just like that. There's no rus in that type of relationship. So Krishna, by his Yogamaya poems, he wipes out that big Aishvarya from the devotee's heart, and devotee just sees Krishna with love, sometimes as friend, sometimes as mother and father. We were reading the other day, and when we were Govindadweep, the verse was that Krishna is feared by the fear personified. But Madhya Yasoda is chasing him with a stick, he's rubbing his eyes like this. But he's feared by the fear, even fear personified. He's afraid of Madhya Yasoda and her stick. Like that. Krishna gets more ras. He relishes these relationships more. And gopis are thinking, and queens of Dwarka are thinking Krishna is my lover, like that. This is Yogamaya, covers that Aishvarya aspect of Krishna and brings us close to we can have sweet relationship with Krishna. This is Yogamaya. So the Krishna, he doesn't want Madhya Yasoda. Just like when Krishna came to, after killing Kamsa, then he came before Devaki and Vasudeva, and they just saw it, because Kamsa we saw all the demons that Kamsa sent, because he had conquered all those very powerful demons. He had conquered them all. He was inconquerable. He had so many demons that he conquered them. That's why they would, you go kill Krishna. They would, yes, sir. They followed his orders. So now Krishna just with a one little punch, pow, he KO'd Kamsa. They know, who is this? So Vasudeva and Devaki, they were standing there with folded hands, and Krishna came, and he thought, for so many years I was living away from my mother and father. Now I came, and they're just standing there. They're not looking at it. Just standing like this. So then he and Balaram, they began to cry. Then immediately their hearts melted, and then they embraced Krishna and Balaram. So Devaki and Vasudeva, they still have this Aishvarya. The Krishna's Bhagavan, but Krishna doesn't like this relationship with Madhya Yasoda. So he just wiped this whole thing out. Then Madhya Yasoda just accepted him as her little Lala. Actually, the place just down 1 kilometer down the road, there's a place called Chintaharangat. Because when Madhya Yasoda, she was just bewildered seeing all these things. So she wandered down to Chintaharangat. Because Chinta? Chinta means worry. Just like nowadays, everybody's worried. All the banks are failing, business going bad, everybody losing their job, everybody's worried. So, Chintaharan, Hari means to take away. So Chintaharangat is all our worries are taken away. If you go there also, you'll forget all this economic meltdown and all this. Then you just forget all these things. It is a very sweet place. There's no panda there to bother you also, just some few sweet sadhus sitting there. You're on the soft sands of the Jamuna. Where's Jamuna? Oh, she's not here, huh? We have anybody else named Jamuna? On Kalindi, she's also with the other Jamuna, isn't it? Anyway, maybe one day we'll go to the children and tell them. We should tell this. Do you know the story of Jamuna? You don't know the story of Jamuna? Okay. One time, can somebody sing Jamuna? Can somebody bring some water? One time, there was one fellow named Visvakarma. You've heard of Visvakarma? He's the engineer of the demigods. We have any engineers here? Anybody's engineer? No engineers? Sorry. Anyway, Visvakarma, he's the engineer of the demigods. And he's a very great devotee of the sun god. And just like me, he had very wunderschöne daughter, beautiful daughter. So, and her name was Sangya. You know Sangya? Now just divide this word for a minute. Sangya. Now you know the word Gyan, right? Gyan means? Knowledge. So like Kirtan, Sankirtan, Sangya, Sangya means complete knowledge. Awareness. Sangya means awareness. So he thought, what better wife for the sun god than Sangya, awareness. Because when night is there, sun is not around, then we're not aware of anything. Huh? Just like last night, they have these special lights, you know, when you move, then the light goes on. But by the time I found my key, the light went off, and I couldn't see where to put the key. So as soon as sun rises, then we become aware of everything. So what better wife for the sun than Sangya? So he got his wife Sangya married with Bibhiswan in a big marriage ceremony. So then, Vasser. So then, Bibhiswan, he approached his wife the way husband approached his wife, and she shut her eyes. So he became very angry. Ari, why did you shut your eyes like that? Why did you do like that? Therefore I curse you. You will get a son who will make everyone shut their eyes, and everyone will be afraid of your son. Now Sangha, she wasn't a modern Western woman who started a big fight with her husband. She was a very smart Indian lady. What did she do? She began to massage on his leg. Oh Swami, what can I do? You're so bright, I couldn't help myself. What can I do? And you're so bright, like this. No harsh word, but automatically husband is feeling bad inside the heart. No harsh word, but he's feeling bad. Then he said, oh, what can I do? I cannot take back the curse. Therefore I give you blessing. See, she was a very clever lady. She got blessing. So I give you blessing that you will also get daughter who will free everyone from the fear of your son. So she gave birth to twins, Yum and Yummy. Yum, Yamaraj, who makes everybody shut their eyes. And everyone's very much afraid of Yamaraj. And Yummy, Yamuna. By taking bath in Yamuna, we become free from all our sins. Then we have no more fear of Yamaraj. So Yamaraj and Yamuna, they're brother and sister. In fact, if you go to Vishramghat in Mathura, then you can see Bhai Dan Mandir, brother-sister temple, Yamaraj and Yamuna, they're brother and sister. In fact, the day after Govardhan Puja, because it's first of Diwali and Amavasya, then on the Pratipad is Govardhan Puja, then the Dvitiya. They call it Yam Dvitiya. Yam Dvitiya. Or Bhai-Dooj, something like that. Gujaratis, they call Bhai-Dooj. So all brother and sister will come together and take bath in Jamuna together. So Yamaraj and Yamuna, they're brother and sister. Therefore Jamuna's name is Surya Putri, daughter of the sun god. Surya Nandini. Bhanu Putri. Bhanu Maharaj ever came here to your Switzerland? No, never came. Anyway, Bhanu means sun. So Bhanu Putri, Bhanu Nandini, and Mitra Putri, Mitra Nandini. Mitra is another name of the sun. Tarani Tanuja, and so many names like this. Now, on this particular planet, she first comes down on top of Kalinda mountain. Therefore she got the name Kalindi. Or even nicer, Kalinda Nandini. Or even more sweet, Kalindagiri Nandani, Kalindagiri Nandani. Just say it, it's so sweet. Kalindagiri Nandani. You know, Giri means mountain. So Nandani, the daughter of the Kalinda mountain. Kalindagiri Nandani. Now, her waters are always very dark colored, sham varna. Anybody been to Prayag? Alright, at least Gopal's been there. Anybody else? Keshava? Anyone else? A few people have been to Prayag. So you can see Jamuna is coming very dark color and Ganga is coming very light color, and then you can see them mixing together in the sun. So Jamuna is always deep dark color. So she's called Krishna, because Krishna means blackish. She's very dear to Krishna. She's called Krishna Priya. And Rupa Goswami has given very beautiful name to Jamuna. What is that? Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandini. Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandini. So you know the meaning of Sarva, huh? All. What do you say in Swiss? Ale. Huh? Almost same. Ale. Huh?
In Swiss, Ali.
Ale. Huh?
Ali.
So all. Ale. Sarva Arabinda. You know Arabinda? Don't you say, you know, you lived in India. Arabinda means? We sing every Monday morning, go Bande Guru Sri Charan Arabindam. Arabinda means?
Lotus.
Lotus. Sometimes people say feet. I don't know. Charan is feet. Charan Arabindam. So Arabinda means lotus. Huh? Sarvadara Binda Bandhu. Now, if there's a bond between us, then we're bandhus, we're friends. Because there's a bond between us, so we're bandhus. So, bandhu means friend. So who's the friend of all the lotus flowers? I'll give you a hint. When moon will rise, every lotus will close her face. She doesn't want to see the moon. But in the morning, as soon as sun will rise, then every lotus will open with big smile to see the sun. So the friend of all the lotus flowers is the sun. So Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandini, the daughter of the friend of all the lotus flowers. This is a beautiful way to say Surya Putri. The daughter of the friend of all the lotus flowers. Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandini. So he has given this name in his Jamunastak. And one verse is my favorite, because it so nicely describes Vrindavan and Jamuna. Ramyatira Rambamana Goka Ramba Bhushita Divya Gandha Bhaka Ramba Pusparaja Rushita Nanda Sunu Bhakta Sangam Abhinandani Mam Punattu Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandani Mam Punattu Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandani. Try it. Mam Punattu Sarvadara Binda Bandhu Nandani. So he says Ramyatira. Just like we know, Krishna's another name is Radha Raman, who loves Radha Rani. So Ramya means lovely. And Tira, we sing every morning, Tira, Jamuna Tira. Tira means? In English, the same word means what Switzerland is famous for.
Bank?
Bank.
Trees.
Huh? Bank. Tira means bank. Ramya Tira Rambamana Go Kadamba. Now we've all heard about the Kadamba trees and Kadamba flowers. But in Sanskrit, Kadamba means group. Because if you see Kadamba flower, he's not a single flower, he's a whole ball of flowers, just like this, all arranged in a little ball. So it's a group of flowers. I forgot the name Kadamba. But here we're not talking about flower or tree. He said Go Kadamba. Go means cows. Ramyatira Rambamana Go Kadamba. And all those cows, they're doing Rambamana. You know Rambamana? Rambamana means all those cows are going So Ramyatira Rambamana Gokadamba Bhushita. Now this word Bhushita comes from the word Abhushan. Just like Baladev Vidya Bhushan. We all heard this name before. Abhushan means ornament, jewelry. Just like we see all the ladies, they too much like jewelry, isn't it? So Jamuna, she's also a lady. She likes jewelry. But her jewelry is little black and red and white and yellow cows moving along her banks just like a little necklace going. This is the ornaments of Jamuna. Ramyatira Rambamana Gokadamba Bhushita Divya Ganda Bakadamba Pusparaja Rushita. Divya is almost like English, divine. What do you say in Swiss? Probably something similar.
Heilig.
Heilig.
Heilig, oh, nothing
Holy.
different.
Holy.
Alright.
Heilig.
Divine. Huh?
Göttlich.
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 Greatly. Right. Very far away, okay. But anyway, all very close to English. Divine. Divya means divine. And Gandha means fragrance. So Divya Ganda Bhakadamba, now we're again talking about Kadamba. And Rupa Goswami kept two meanings in one line. One, we can take it that the banks of Jamuna are covered with Kadamba flowers, Kadamba trees rather. Or we can take it that the Kadamba tree is covered with Kadamba flowers. If you come in June, when it's nice and cool, only 45, 50 degrees, then you can see the Kadamba flowers in bloom. Of course you go to Mayapur, they bloom in a different season, but anyway, you can see, they're bigger, they're even bigger than this. But our Vrindavan Kadambas are half this size. Then you can see the Kadamba towers in blossom. And the whole tree is just covered. Even if you come now, if we go to Ramandagat, there's one Kadamba tree there, on the bank there, and you can see the little round seed pods, and you just see hundreds and hundreds. You can just imagine when it was in bloom, hundreds and hundreds of flowers are there. And Divya Gandha, this divine fragrance, is flowing in all directions. Just like in Vrindakund, we have so many Kadamba trees. And we have one, he gives reddish golden Kadamba flowers. The other one gives nice yellow golden Kadamba flowers. The other one gives oranges golden Kadamba flowers. And then we have one in the back who gives great big ones, and they're just very slightly greenish yellow Kadamba. Just see them, you feel bliss. All different colors of Kadamba flowers. And they're golden, they're all more or less golden, so they're representative of Radharani. And we make garlands for Vrindadevi and Giriraj with those Kadamba flowers. And then during the Artik, it looks just like the descriptions we read in Srimad Bhagavatam, how the Lord has got his garland and these bees are buzzing around. So we're doing the Artik and all the bees are coming in and buzzing around Giriraj and Vrindadevi's, going, they're all buzzing around. And even from the back of the temple room, this divine fragrance is coming. So Divya Gandha Bhakadamba Pusparaja Rushita. Nanda Suno Bhakta Sangam, Sangam Avinandani. So Nanda Suno means the son of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Suno Bhakta Sangha. Those people who were the devotees of the son of Nanda Maharaj. Sangam, to all of them. Because some came from over here, some came from over here, some came from that side, some came from this side, some came from over there, some came from over here. Like that, they've all come early in the morning to take their bath in the Jamuna. To Sangam, to all of them, Abhinandani, she's giving welcome to all the devotees. Nanda Suna Bhakta Sangam, Sangam Abhinandani, Mam Punatu Sarvadara Deena Bandhu Nandani. May those sweetly flowing waves of that daughter, of the friend of all the lotus flowers, always bless and purify your heart. So this is one verse from Rupa Goswami's Jamanastak that so nicely describes Jamuna. So, what time is it?
6:45.
2:30.
5:45.
5:45.
4 to 6. So, anyway, because we were seeing this little girl named Jamuna and one lady is named Kalindi, so as soon as we came to Gokul with Prabhupada, then immediately we thought of Jamuna. We should tell the story. So maybe you have some questions? Anybody has any question we would like answered? Okay, then we'll tell another story. Since we're in Gokul, we know shortly after Krishna was born, then Kamsa, he found out that Krishna was born somewhere else. And then he began his persecution. So first he called one witch called Putana. Prabhupada says she belongs to a group of witches called Kechari. They can fly on the branch of a tree and they like to suck the blood of children. Putana, Putana is my name. Eating little children is my game. So he told Putana to smear her breast with poison and go there to Gokul and finish off this Krishna. So Putana was very powerful, though she was very ugly in her original form. She could change her form at will. So she took on a very, very beautiful form. So beautiful. And she came walking to Gokul twirling a lotus flower. And she was so beautiful, even the Brishbasis didn't suspect anything. In fact, they were all speculating. Somebody said it must be Sachi Devi, the wife of Lord Indra, come to take darshan of Nandalala. Somebody said, no, it must be, you're wrong, it must be Gauri, wife of Lord Shiva, who's come to take darshan of Nandalala. No, you're all wrong. She's twirling a lotus flower. It must be Lakshmiji, the consort of Lord Vishnu. The goddess of fortune has come to take darshan of Nandalala. In this way, all the Brishbasis were speculating about who this beautiful woman was. And nobody suspected anything. And then, she wandered right into the palace of Nanda Maharaj without even knocking on the door. She just walked straight in. In fact, she was so beautiful that even Mother Yasoda got doubt. She took one look at Putana and she saw she was so beautiful and she began to get funny thoughts in her brain and she said, am I the mother? Or is she the mother? Is she the mother? Or am I the mother? And neither Rohini nor Yasoda did anything. They just watched her walk right into the house over to where Krishna was lying in bed. Now this is most amazing. Because Mother Yasoda, she doesn't even let her good friends get darshan of Krishna so easily. She's so protective. As soon as someone comes, no, he just woke up, I have to bathe him and dress him, you come back later. No, I just fed him, he has to take some rest, you come back later. No, he was playing, I have to bathe him and put him to rest, you come back later. Even her friends can't easily get darshan of her son. She's so protective. Now a strange woman, without even knocking on the door, she just walks into the house, walks right over, and Rohini and Yasoda don't do a thing. Some of our acharyas have explained in their commentaries on this pastime that it must be that Krishna expanded his Yogamaya potency. Otherwise even her close friends, no, I have to feed him lunch now, you come back after some time. Even her close friends can't get darshan. Now, Putana, she had smeared some heavy poison, even a drop would kill an elephant, on her breast. And she looked at Lala lying there in his little bed. And she thought, this is my cruel death. She understood Krishna, somewhat. And Krishna, he looked at Putana and he closed his eyes. Now if we go into why he closed his eyes, we'll be here, because every commentator has given his own idea. We'll be here all day, all night. Anyway, he said, oh no, what are the women liberationists going to think, that I killed, the first demon I killed was a woman. But anyway, all the rest of the demons were men. He only killed one. There was only one woman here. All the rest of the demons were men. So don't feel offended. So Krishna closed his eyes. Then Putana, she took him in her arms and she placed her breast in his mouth. Now this is a very interesting pastime, because all our commentators explain how everybody gets to take part in this pastime. Because when there's poison, then who do we call? Who's the poison buster? When there's poison, who do we call? Who's the poison? Ah, Lord Shiva. So he's also within Krishna. Because Prabhupada explains, Krishna, he only enjoys loving pastimes with his devotees. He doesn't actually kill the demons or any of those things. So drinking poison is not Krishna's business, that's Shiva's business. So he called for Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva drank all the poison. Now Krishna, he only enjoys wonderful pastimes, he drank all the milk. So then Prabhupada explains, it's actually Mahavishnu who does all the killing. Krishna is just enjoying. So Mahavishnu is also within Krishna. So then he called for Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu began to suck the life air out of Putana. And Putana began to scream, oh child, leave me! Leave me! And she ran to the door of the palace, and it appeared that she flew through the sky. Actually, Krishna threw her. Because he knows when she expands into her real form, she'll smash the whole of Gokul and everybody will be smashed. So he threw her far away outside the village. And she came crashing down. And if you ever come from Brahmandagat to Gokul, you'll see there's a depression in the ground like this. You'll see there's some land like high and some land down. It just drops like this. It's like one leg fell over here, another leg fell. There's land high here, there's land down here, there's high here. And there's this depression that goes down. Even one time when Jamuna was flooded, we saw that part of the road was underwater. So the I don't know, but the Brishbazis told me that's where Putana fell. So then Putana fell down and she expanded into this huge, enormous form, and just the whole earth was shaking. And everyone came running. And Mother Yasoda, she saw that Krishna was, it appeared, Prabhupada describes that Mother Yasoda, her two legs just looked like the banks of a river. We're talking about Tira. The banks of a river, and her two breasts were just like two big mountain peaks, and her chest was just like the summit before you climb up to the mountain peak. And Krishna was there, he was smiling, just see what I did. Everybody else was frightened. Mother Yasoda, she fainted. And all the Brishbazis, they made a big chain all the way up, because Putana was huge. They climbed up, and somebody picked up Lala and handed her to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Finally, they put her in Mother Yasoda's lap, and Mother Yasoda regained her consciousness. And Mother Yasoda began to think, oh, somehow by great fortune, I finally got a child. And now by some offense that I must have done, my child was almost taken from me. But now by the grace of the Almighty Lord, my child has been saved. She doesn't know Krishna is the Lord. She says, oh, my child has been saved by providence, has saved my child. And she began to chant all the 12 names of Vishnu, 12 names of Vishnu. Because wherever Vishnu's name is chanted, then no evil spirits can remain. Just like one time, out of all the millions and millions of material desires in my heart, I had one tiny little spiritual desire to go to Bhaktivedanta Manor and see the Janmashtami there. At least one time in the lifetime you should go. Anybody seen Bhaktivedanta Manor Janmashtami? Nobody's gone. You should go sometime and see. Big production. 1,400 volunteers. For 1 month they come. Every day after work they come and they start setting up all the tents and displays, and they make all these dioramas all around the lake, and they have Kali in the lake with 2 big green tennis balls with lights inside his eyes. Display tents and Priti tents in the main tent and all these things. They all come, they work up till almost midnight, then there's a big feast at midnight, then everybody goes home, they go to work, they come back after work, and then the day of Janmashtami, they have everybody, somebody's doing guiding service, somebody's manning the audio-visual booth, somebody's this booth, somebody's doing that, somebody's doing that, and there's one whole tent, just all the old Gujaratis lady there chopping up the aloo and sabjis, and 1,400 volunteers to put on this. It is probably the biggest Janmashtami outside of India. And the year I was there, even CNN came to film and interview everybody. So, anyway, next day, of course, is Vyas Puja. So we had this nice Vyas Puja ceremony. We had Prabhupada out in the big tent. And then, afterwards, late at night, we carried Prabhupada back to his room and put him on his Vyasasan. And somehow we just had an impromptu Prabhupada nectar session. And then I was there in Dhananjay. All the bishops, that time Dhananjay was also living in Vrindavan. So Dhananjay and I were there, and somebody else was there from Vrindavan. All the bishops were there. Somehow, we just started telling pastimes. So he told how, we remember in the Prabhupada Lila Mrit that they were living at Tittenhurst Estate, John Lennon's place. Because Shamsundar was a carpenter, so he was doing some woodwork, so he allowed all the devotees to stay there. But the guy who was overseeing all the work, he was coming late every day to work. Because he couldn't get any sleep at night because all these noise in the rafters. Like somebody was complaining yesterday, all the noise in the rafters. Anyway, but that's another thing. But anyway, he said there's rats. His wife said, nonsense, there's ghosts. It's a humbluff, no such thing, it's rats. Anyway, it was ghostly haunted house. So somehow one day they happened to mention to Prabhupada about this. So Prabhupada told them, the devotees, that you go there, you have kirtan, and you dance in a circle clockwise. You dance in a circle clockwise, and all the ghosts will go away. So anyway, he didn't want to have anything to do with it, but he was overruled by the home ministry. So his wife invited them all there. The devotees had a big kirtan, they all danced around in a circle clockwise like this. And next day, bright and early in the morning, the manager of the guy who was overseeing the work, he showed up. He said, you chased all the rats away. And the wife said, Hamlaf, you chased away all the ghosts. In any event, there's no more sounds. So this is the power of Vishnu's name. So Madhusudana was chanting the 12 names of Lord Vishnu, and she, with the whisk made from the tail hairs of a cow, she was twirling it around Krishna. And then she bathed Krishna with cow dung and cow urine. These things are so special that even the Supreme Personality of Godhead was bathed with cow dung and cow urine. And then she fed Krishna milk from her breast, and when he was drinking peacefully, then she can understood that he's not worried, he's out of complete danger. Like this. So this way, everyone got to take part in this pastime. Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.